On today's episode, we are going to be reviewing Elif Shafak's There Are Rivers in the Sky, which we love, but we're also going to be talking about other fun stuff.
Yeah. This book is more than just a book.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Talk to Us Today. And today we are going to be talking about a very special book, but also a really amazing author, Elif Shafak. Now, she is Turkish and brought up in England, so she writes in Turkish and English. And she has written this. This is her latest book. There Are Rivers in the Sky, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. But more about that later. And she, so I loved it so much, I gifted it to Namita, and we'll hear her review about it too. But the amazing part of it is that she has written so many gorgeous books. One of my all-time favorite books is 40 Rules of Love, which goes, and this is one of her specialities. She goes back and forth seemingly between history and present day. So I would highly recommend reading her as an author and not just one book and whatever.
Yeah, she has a beautiful way of connecting stories.
So, let's start with what you thought. It was a birthday present for you. Was it worth it?
It's worth it. It's more than 100% worth it, Simrit. You know, when I started this book, I was like, okay, because just before that, I read another book, which was again on similar lines, little sad, little like too deep, then I started like, I don't know if I want to carry it on or I want to stop it. But I read like few pages and then like, okay, let me push. And the moment the first story started and then again, the second one started and I just got into it. Like, I just wanted to read and read and read. I was curious what would happen in the next story. What is happening there? And then again, coming back to this one. And then I really had to like go back and forth to understand things so that I know whatever I'm reading, I'm understanding is right or not. But every time I turn the page, there's something and the way it has been written, Simrit, it's beautiful. You know how the human lives, experiences, emotions are intertwined, much like rivers that connect different landscapes. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Okay, so somebody who loves to like take the Mickey out of books. I mean, let's just start with this name. There Are Rivers in the Sky. Like, this book is going to be poetic and it lives up to this name, but There Are Rivers in the Sky. Just the name, and people get attracted like, oh, wow, that's hardcore, right?
Yeah. And there's one line, I must say, there's written at the back, water has a memory. When I read this, remember I sent it to this picture. Oh, I'm having a deja vu about it. I think I know water has a memory.
You told me that was the first thing that you said. Water remembers, it is humans who forget. And she talks about like a single, obviously she's an author. She's not just an author. She's one of the most amazing storytellers of our time. So she takes a raindrop, and she transports it between centuries.
Exactly. Back and forth times.
Yeah. So she starts with England and this little infant being born. Arthur of Prince Arthur of
sewage and sewers.
He was born to this poor lady on the banks during this the extreme poverty and back in the Victorian age or Elizabethan age. Sorry, I'm like losing because I read this, but he is born and a drop of a snowflake falls on his tongue, and the lady who's delivering him goes, he will always remember this taste, and this is the taste of being
mother's milk. It is it's like a mother's milk for him.
Yes, mother's milk. There you go. And this King Arthur, and it's loosely based on history. All of her books are loosely based on history, so you get historical fiction.
Simrit, it's such a deep study of history. It's not general. The way things have been mentioned, the explanation, the characteristics, the exact, and those history books are the real. They're not like fiction books, research books, papers. And I was surprised when in the end there's a written, the resources, there's a whole pages. I literally read those like, oh my God, these are from real references. How this whole book has been written.
Like
Lot of
Charles Dickens, like Charles Dickens makes a appearance here, and
yeah,
King Arthur used to work like this guy, King Arthur, not the
yeah,
actual King Arthur.
that publishing
He,
house. Yeah,
yeah,
it's all
and the river.
realistic events. Like the story, the timeline is very realistic.
Oh
It's
yeah,
it's very much intertwined. I mean, I love it. And how it says like how the past shapes your present and this
yes.
present influences your future. So just like, a river
So how
passes
do
through
we feel
land.
about that? So this book is about, this guy king, like this boy born here, and then how he gets attracted to the ruins of Nineveh, an ancient city of Mesopotamia. Sorry, I had to read that. And then how he had inborn talent. I would say this was an inborn talent to recognize and read the scriptures, and he was so. I mean, this you cannot learn this stuff that he was able to do, because this is real life too. And then how he went to Mesopotamia, then he came back, he got married, then again he went, and how he falls in love, and the settlements around this, and he was buried there. And then we go back to 2019 or something,
Yeah,
or
917, the 19 and 14. Yeah,
yes. And then she's talking about this child, Narin, a Yazidi girl, and I didn't know about Yazidis. And then we go back to, where in England in 2018, Zalika, a hydrologist who studies water, and these three stories come together in a
yeah.
non, like, it doesn't seem like fiction at all.
No,
It's
no,
like
that,
a matter of chance. It's not like, oh, bang, they got together. No, it's so
yeah,
gently, just like a river, gentle and then fast and then
yeah.
carved history.
Connecting
I
to different
connecting
tributaries.
flow.
Biggest thing which I felt was it's about the human resilience. The narrative is a testament to how humanity survives tragedies and losses and learning to adapt and then grow stronger. It just it no matter what, you keep going, things keep moving on, and you learn as you and these traumas, how they're shaping the future generations.
Yeah, but now let's also talk about, how, like, and then they talk about ISIS. So why is this important? Why is it important to read about history? Why is it important to read about ancient history? Do we learn something new that'll help us? Yeah, there's tons. But also, like, as humanitarians, as sociologists, as psychologists, how does this help us? It helps us feel connected to a bigger good than us. You don't feel so isolated. I think that's number one. Number two, when you hear about the cruelty, because we touch upon ISIS in this book, right? We talk about,
Honestly, I had no idea about this community, Yazidis, and what they like, why they were called devil worshippers, and it was a deep, and I did read about them once. I really have to,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
kind of practices they have is similar to like Hinduism. Somewhere they're related,
So
and
it's interesting. What does this book do also? It makes us realize that people who are doing certain things, it doesn't make them worse. We have to learn that there's so many different communities out there, the acceptance to be persecuted on the basis of what your faith or religion or your
yeah,
beliefs are.
yeah,
So unfortunate. And
yeah,
you open your mind. There are a lot of things we all don't understand. Why do we do this? We're not going to mention them. We're not being political. But yeah, it opens your eyes that there are different people who are just like us. They just grew up in, and they were taught. If you go into the depth, if we go into ancient history, why were they praying to them? Why were they praying to fire? Why were they praying to water?
water.
What is the places? So beautifully done. And
Uh,
then
they,
how the
they had that
communities.
sense of finding the water in the desert, I felt like Arthur, the interest, the inquisitivity to know more. It was a lot of learning behind this whole storytelling history. But Mesopotamia, I had no idea. Tigris, River Tigris, and and it covers these three, four countries: Iraq, Iran, and
Yeah,
Turkey, and then the spiritual, nature
yeah.
of the river, and how and some rivers were hidden. The beautiful part was when that that character Zarika, right? Zaleka. I'm sorry, I'm also missing out the name.
Yeah, yeah.
She's finding the forgotten river, the hidden rivers in the city.
Because she's concentrating on Thames in England, right?
Yeah,
And there are
right.
hidden rivers under London, which I never knew. But it
Yeah,
also kind of is like you could transport this story to India. It
yeah,
could be the river Ganga.
Yeah.
how holy it is. And of course, we know what a force it is. But learning about other cultures, so Middle Eastern cultures or philosophies, or it gives you in-depth knowledge of how these things influence all of us,
Yeah.
how similar we are. Feminist issues, like women, they were powerful and they were not, and why it was, and is sexuality the only reason because they can be out? And also just understanding that, yes, in history is written by the victors. So I was sitting with somebody yesterday who went to Taj, and they're like, oh, my husband has a high bar to set. And I'm like, don't be stupid. I don't want to be Mumtaz, Mel. I don't want him to make something for me when I'm dead. Do it now. Do something for me now. And is that really romance? Oh, he was so romantic. I'm like, but history is written by victors. He said he was romantic. He was just getting her pregnant and made her die. I mean, different philosophies to all this. So similarly, there was a goddess that everybody used to pray to, but then they changed the gender as they kept praying. So Nubis or whatever became Nubin and became a male form, and a god. And
this book it has too much to read, too much to give your deep thoughts into, too much to think about how your past, your present, your future connects with time.
So all of us who've read it, even in the book club, were like, when we reach London, that's the first thing.
That's the first thing. I want to see that Mesopotamia section.
A book that makes you more curious about the future. Always 5 stars.
Yeah.
And
very well
written. Very well written, beautiful. And always remember your past to like take care of your present.
Yeah, just like that's why they connected river always remembers its origin, right? And it flows everywhere. So similarly, we should always be connected to our past, our like ancestral places or anything for that matter. The connection, the roots you belong to, because that will shape
you. A sense of belonging. We both said the same thing.
Yes.
Belonging. Yeah. We are part of a universe. We're all connected somewhere. Yes. Our stories don't start and end here. Yeah. They are connected. That's my takeaway for
same.
Beautiful book. Loved it. We didn't even get a chance to talk about anything else, so we'll save it for next time.
Yes.
So that's all on Talk to Us today. If you liked our episode and want us, please let everybody know. And if you want us to talk about anything special, please email us at our given email at hello@talktoustoday.com or mention it in the comment section.
Keep smiling.
Keep laughing.
Keep reading.
And keep talking.